Well, it's 3. I guess I will get started. Hello, everybody. Thank you all for coming. Um, I see some familiar faces, or at least names on the list over here. My name is Rick Whitmore. I am the IT Security Compliance Manager at the University of Kansas. And I'm here to, the last time I spoke to Czech was 2 years ago. I was up on stage with our friends down at Pittsburgh with 3 of my colleagues talking about some 3 projects that we were working on to try to solve some of our problems. Um, those projects at the time were Zeek, Security Onion, and Graylog. All 3 of those are still running in some form. Today, I'm going to talk about what we did to take Security Onion from this initial proof of concept into what is now a production environment. So back then, these were the problems we were trying to solve. We are still in the middle of a transition of campus that's going to be 80+% wireless. And given that environment, devices don't matter as much, and we need to focus more on user behavior. Our networks are going to be moving toward large multi-purpose VLANs as opposed to the kind of building-specific VLANs that we have set up now, which means that we won't be able to differentiate devices a lot. These large multi-purpose VLANs are going to have everything from KU owned and managed machines to student iPhones and student laptops. Those wireless VLANs are also not firewalled anymore. We're relying on access controls that are built into the Aruba environment that runs our wireless. And we really have a need to evaluate endpoint monitoring and also our network visibility. So what's changed? This has changed. This is our org chart. The structure of the office is pretty much the same as it was 2 years ago, but a lot of the staff has changed. Only one of those 3 people that were up on stage with me, Caitlin Dean, is still in our office. Others have moved on. We have some new people. Some people that were in our office are no longer here. So in 2 years, we've changed some. More recently, we've had some other changes where we've been able to expand our security footprint into the larger IT environment. We started a program that we call the IT Security Engineers. They're the folks listed in green on the slide you're looking at. And they report up through the units that they're in. So they have sort of a dotted line relationship to the security office. We meet with them all the time. We work with them daily. But their direct reports and their responsibilities are for the specific security efforts in the various units that they're part of. So we have IT engineers in network architecture, in enterprise systems and platforms, in workstation support, and we have a new person, Stephen Donnelly, who's in our application area. And the design of this, what these people do, we now have a real incident response team. The security engineers, along with staff in the security office, now comprise our defined security incident response team. They work on vulnerability remediation in their specific units. So they deal with vulnerabilities on servers, and other folks deal with vulnerabilities on workstations. We now have someone who can help us review vulnerabilities in applications. They help with configuration management on systems. We're training them, and they're engaging in incident response training, tabletops, that kind of thing. And they're providing us and all of IT really with additional system documentation and things like data flow diagrams and all kinds of things that we lack right now that will give the security office much greater visibility into what's going on in our IT environment. So, as with everyone knows, in the last year and a half, roughly, our environment has changed. We have now 30,000 endpoints, largely not on campus. They are all over the world, and they're likely going to stay as distributed as that for quite some time to come. We have roughly about 2,200 servers, both on-prem and increasingly in various clouds. So we're doing a full cut over to the wireless campus. End users are all over the world, and we have a great deal of network activity still at our border. What has changed? So we have some new things in our environment. Recently, we set up a new, last fall, we replaced our old SourceFire IPS system that sat at our campus border with a new Palo Alto system. We now have access to the full suite of M365 security features. We have moved completely into the M365 cloud for email, and the university is fully in the Teams universe now. So we have all of those things available to us. We are replacing Defender. We are installing Defender ATP on endpoints to replace our current Sophos endpoint protection. We're dropping our contract with Sophos and going with Defender all the way. And because of the rearrangement and new way our network is architected, we're working on re-architecting our vulnerability scanning interface. Again, we're not going to be scanning as much because the networks we scanned aren't going to exist anymore. So we've deployed agents. We use Rapid7's Nexpose as our vulnerability scanner, and we're deploying Rapid7's agents onto workstations and servers to take care of that sort of vulnerability reporting that will feed into our vulnerability management program. So, what is Security Onion? Security Onion is a free and open source Linux distribution designed primarily for intrusion detection, enterprise security monitoring, and log management. Since in the interim 2 years since we talked about Security Onion in 2019, it has changed profoundly. They have released, Security Onion 2 was released last fall. It is a complete rebuild of the Security Onion that we were familiar with from 2 years ago. It is container-based. It now works on CentOS 7 or Ubuntu 18.04. Previously, it was just Ubuntu. They have completely redone the suite of tools that's available in Security Onion. So it includes Suricata. It used to be a choice between Snort or Suricata. They have dumped Snort, and now they're completely on Suricata. Zeek, formerly known as Bro, was part of the infrastructure 2 years ago, and it's a big part of it now. They've instituted Wazoo, which is a fork of the open source OSSec project. It's a host-based intrusion detection system. And there are pre-built agents that you install on endpoints to communicate that data back to Security Onion. It includes the Hive, which is an incident response ticketing system. And I'll show you most of this stuff. It has a tight integration of OS Query. It uses Fleet to kind of deploy OS queries across a bunch of different hosts. OS Query is if you're not familiar with OS Query, it's basically it lets you conduct SQL-like queries against a system to pull information about a system from it. I've used it some in the past. It's pretty useful. They've introduced the new a whole hunting interface, threat hunting interface. There are now built-in playbooks that you can install, and you can. There's ways to consume external threat intelligence feeds into Security Onion now. This is still pretty. All of this is still pretty new to us. Our system went live at the end of January. So we've only been running it for about 3 or 4 months now. one of the things we did when we were working on this is figure out who could help us with this. Fortunately, there is a relatively new company called Security Onion Solutions. This is a commercial company that provides training and support for Security Onion. It grew out of the Security Onion community, but now it's an official support company. We have contracted with them. We pre-bought support hours from them, so they offer training and support. They also sell purpose-built appliances for Security Onion that you can just buy their appliance and plug it into your network and it works. They have authorized training material. They have they will do in-person training. They will do online training. And they've been very, very, very helpful for us. They've worked with us. They're extremely responsive. I think it's a relatively small company. I was looking at on their webpage of the people in their company. I realized I've talked to maybe half of them on the phone. So we got to planning that this was going to be a real enterprise deployment. We wanted to put a lot of thought into it and put whatever resources we could find behind it to build a sustainable, ongoing, expandable monitoring infrastructure using Security Onion. So we asked about budget. How much do we have? We set a rough cap of about $200,000. We came in under it. And then, well, what was the scope? What exactly were we going to build this into to monitor? And I've been having discussions with our network architects about this for some time, about exactly what points in the network we wanted to monitor and how are we going to go about doing that. Those discussions are still ongoing. And I think that's probably will continue for some time. There are big changes being planned to our data center in terms of networking. So this is going to be an ongoing discussion with our network team. What were our appliance needs? What were our hardware needs? Did we want to go with Security Onion Solutions appliances? Were we going to go with open hardware? What KUI teams needed to be part of this? And we worked very closely with our enterprise systems and platforms teams, with our network architecture, and with our floor space planning teams to help us build and implement this thing. One of the most critical things is that we wanted the systems themselves, the operating systems, to be managed by enterprise systems, not by the security office. I used to be a system administrator. I don't want to be, I got into security partly because I didn't want to be a system administrator anymore. I'm not a great system administrator. So I want people who are really good at being system administrators to take care of the systems we were building. And it was pretty clear that we were going to need professional support. And so we contracted with Security Onion Solutions. So this is a slide from our last presentation, just to kind of remind people the PoC, the proof of concept that we built is on the right-hand side of the screen. The I can't believe that you've done this hours. What we did was build two, at the time they're still called forward nodes. The master is now called the manager. It's not called a master anymore. But we had no storage nodes. So what we do have now is a distributed deployment correctly done according to Security Onion's solution. With Security Onion 2, some of the nomenclature changed. So the forward nodes are still called forward nodes. Those are essentially the sensors. They take inputs from the network. The full packet captures that the system's done are stored on the forward nodes. The PCAPs themselves don't go anywhere else in the system. And then data comes down to the master that distributes it out to what in this diagram are called storage nodes, which are now called search nodes. And that's where all the main indexing is done. It's where the Elasticsearch clusters are and all that. So that's the deployment we have. We have a general distributed deployment right now. So for hardware, we got quotes for appliances from Security Onion Solutions. They were very competitive price-wise. They were not outrageous by any means. They were very, very fair pricing for what the specs are. But when they sent me the specs, I sent them over to Chris Jeter, who runs our enterprise platforms team, who again was extremely helpful. And he went into our Dell contract and spec'd essentially like for like hardware specs from the Security Onion appliances to what we could do on Dell hardware. And we went with Dell hardware because it ended up saving us roughly $30,000 in total cost. So we have 10 servers in total in our Security Onion infrastructure. 9 of them are exactly the same model. So we have 5 forward nodes and 4 search nodes, and those are all configured as you can see there. They all have 128 gigs of RAM and 44 terabytes of storage each. The manager node has 128 gigs of RAM and just 4 terabytes of storage. It doesn't need the manager node doesn't need a whole ton of storage on it. Oops. And this is a basic diagram of our deployment as it stands right now. This is in the process of changing. Even yesterday, I had a conversation about it. So right now, we have a single data feed that comes off our border router. That interface is on the inside edge of our border IPS. So the traffic that is coming currently into it has already been filtered through our Palo Alto border IPS. So it goes from the border router down to what is labeled there, the Arista switch. That is a model from Arista. It is in tap aggregator mode right now. So it sort of conceptually is on one side you have tap ports, and on the other side you have tool ports. And so we have tap ports configured to take network feeds on one side, and then on the other side we have ports configured to send it, the tool ports configured right now to send to the forward nodes in our security infrastructure. The forward nodes, you can see 2 of them are green. Those 2 are not deployed yet. Right now we only have 3 of the forward nodes deployed. I'm waiting for additional network inputs to come in to deploy those other 2 forward nodes, on listening for some other network traffic other than the border traffic we're seeing right now. Then all that traffic goes down to the manager, and then it's deployed out to the 4 search nodes that we have. All the management for all the nodes is done through the manager. There's a lot of command line stuff. It's all very scripted. It is a command line deployment. There's no real GUIs to do any of the actual deployment of all this stuff. But it is a relatively simple installation process. We had some initial issues with some of the first setup tries we did. We had to sort out some things that were kind of parts of the standard build that our enterprise systems platform puts on every server. And because Security Onion has particular specifications that it wants, we had to make a few little adjustments here and there to do that. But again, the team was great, and we got it done without a whole lot of fuss. All right, I'm going to show it to you now, and this is going to work. I promise. Okay, let me full screen this here. Everybody see that? Everybody seeing the screen that says Security Onion on it? You should be. Yep, I see it. Okay, cool. So this is the main kind of initial homepage for Security Onion. Most of this is the alerts page. You can see the menu on the side here. So these are the current alerts that we're seeing. I'm showing a 24-hour interface here. From here, basically you can arrange these however you want. I have them arranged by severity right now. So the one I want to look, let's see, which one? Oh, I was going to look. Oh, look, a team viewer thing. We don't really like team viewer on our network. Let's see what that is. So from here, I can just drill down into it. Those are all the events that are connected to it. And I can open up any one of these. And then from here, I can actually go and view the PCAP of it. Now I have preloaded the PCAP because they can take a minute or two to load. It has to go into the sensor itself and dig through several terabytes of packet capture data to pull out the ones it needs. So this is what you see when you do a full PCAP. So this is that team viewer traffic that we saw before. I can download the PCAP if I want to examine it in something like Wireshark. From here, the other basic interface is in Kibana. This is generally what you're looking at now are basically Zeek logs. Zeek does the way Zeek works. It's generally metadata about network connections, and it breaks things out into various logs here. So we have a little heat map over here that shows, wow, we've got a lot of DNS traffic, and then a bunch of other different protocols. And over here, you can drill down. You know, if I'm interested in looking at my SQL traffic, I can dig down and look at that if I want to. And from here, oh, look, port 80. I love unencrypted traffic. And that link will take me to the PCAP of that, which looks like that. And again, I can open up all these. In this case, I would probably, because there's quite a few, I would probably download this and look at it in Wireshark or something like that. So that's kind of the main interface of how we do it. And the way we're working it right now is generally we look at these alerts. The Zeek logs we generally use right now, again, and we're talking just right now, are really almost, we use them almost forensically, so that, oh, we have an IP that's of interest, and we can go back in these Zeek logs and look through and find all the activity we can find from any particular IP on campus, for example. We get a lot of traffic. You can see in 24 hours, we have 159 million log events in 24 hours. We have a pretty busy network, even when no one's on campus. So, other tools that are included. Grafana is kind of the health monitor of the system. Right now, we're looking at the manager node. It just gives you all kinds of health statistics about how things are going. Is everything running fine to do that? And there's a dashboard for each one of the nodes that you can look at here in Grafana. CyberChef is just a great tool to help you decode things you find. So if I find a base 64 string, for example, I can easily go into CyberChef and quickly decode it. It also lets you build recipes. So you can take a string and run it through various different decoders to try to figure out exactly what's going on. So that's a helpful, useful tool. The Hive is what we use a lot. This is our case management system. We have been using a version of the Hive for a couple of years now. The security office has always run its own ticketing system for security incidents. We've been through some variations of it. We were using a standalone version of the Hive previous to using Security Onion. Now we're using the one that's built into Security Onion. It gives us a lot of advantages. We can create incidents right from within these interfaces here. So we could just, you can say, I want to create a Hive case from this incident, and it will do that automatically. It will pump the data that's in the alert that you're looking at directly into the ticket. Yes, this interface over here, they call it a Twitter-like interface. If you're working on a case with multiple people, you will see the updates scroll by as people make changes. The way the Hive works is you can open a case. There are case templates that you can use. So we have quite a few of these. So this is one that we built. So we have a template for if we get a phishing or malware incident. So it gives names. It presets tags for the incident, so we can keep our metrics. It describes various tasks, and then you can put the tasks here and put them in whatever order they should be done in. So these are the tasks that we're going to do when we're handling a phishing or malware incident. It gives you a space to collect any metrics that you want to do. Some of these come pre-built. There are pre-built ones that are provided by the people who run the Hive, and you can make your own, and you can edit any of them. We have found it to be the most flexible case incident manager that our office has used, and it is built into Security Onion now. The playbooks are interesting. We haven't touched on these too much yet. There are a lot of pre-built playbooks that there are hundreds of them. These are the ones we have active right now. In the current environment as it stands right now, we're probably not going to get a lot of alerts on these. Some of these we will need to get more data in order to take better advantage of the way these playbooks are set up. But again, these are pre-built things. You can build your own if you want. And so we have, being in higher ed, we have emphasized the ransomware ones. These create templates in the Hive that will, and when they alert, it'll automatically create a case in the Hive to do that. And again, we're just exploring those now. Navigator is MITRE ATT&CK Framework Navigator. And there it goes. Yeah, so this is pretty useful. You can map. I want to set a new layer. I can create a new layer and base it on different APTs, and it will highlight them. Again, new, and we're exploring it. All right. So that's the Hive. That's the interface. That's how it works. That's how we use it pretty much. And that worked. So where are we here? We have a long to-do list. And this is just some of the things that are on it. We are working right now to get more port mirrors set up, particularly from the wireless network. So that's going to be the next network input into Security Onion, will be span ports off the switches that run our wireless controllers. I'm really looking forward to that. That will be unfiltered traffic. That won't go through anything. There's no firewalls in place or anything. I think we're going to get a ton of useful information out of that. We need to deploy the Wazoo agents on our servers. We're not going to put those on workstations. We're only going to put those on servers, largely because we already have Defender ATP on our workstations, and we don't need another agent, and it'll be less useful on there than it would be on a server. We're working on doing more threat intelligence feeds. We We get, because we're members of Ren Isaac, we can get a very good threat intelligence feed from them. We have that working right now. We're going to look for more to put in there. Because we have such a heavy footprint right now in M365, we're looking for integrations with M365. How can we exchange data between the between their security tools and Security Onion to provide us a more complete picture of the kinds of things that we're looking for. We're looking to intake vulnerability data from our vulnerability scanning system. That's doable. We know how to do it. We need to just figure out exactly how we're going to make that work. We do really want to implement the playbooks. We're looking at that now, and a lot of the planning that we're thinking about right now is trying to give us the information that we're going to need to be able to implement those. We want to implement Rita. Rita is an open source project from Black Hills Information Security. It is designed to parse Zeek logs and look in particular for beaconing data, for command and control traffic. It's a very good tool, and it'll be a little tricky because we have a distributed deployment. We don't have one place to monitor Zeek logs because they're kind of in different places in a distributed deployment. So we got to figure that out. And then our goal with everything that we're doing in our office right now is automate everything. There's only 4 or 5 of us that are working this full time. We have a lot of help from the security engineers. But there's more alerts than we have people, and we've got to figure out how to automate them and how to make our lives and our work a lot more efficient. So that is all I have. That's the story of Security Onion and how we're doing it. So let's see, where am I here?
Rick, it does look like there's a couple of questions in the chat.
Okay.
One is, it's kind of a 2-part question. So are you running your Science DMZ traffic into this also, or just typical enterprise traffic, or something in between like Science DMZ after you take out some known big flows, or even enterprise flows you have decided to somehow ignore or filter off?
Yeah, no, Andy, we're not. This is not connected to the Science DMZ at all right now. The Science DMZ has its own Zeek cluster set up. That was one of the projects we talked about 2 years ago. The hardware for the Zeek cluster was purchased as part of the grant that we got for the Science DMZ. So that has kind of its own monitoring environment with that Zeek cluster. So right now it is enterprise traffic, and that's really the focus that we're looking for. And your second question, enterprise flows that we decided to somehow ignore or filter off. Yes, we're going to do that. No, we haven't quite done that yet. The most that we've done right now is we noticed anomalies in Security Onion that we went, oh, we really shouldn't be seeing that. We shouldn't even be allowing that through our border. Why are we allowing that through the border? So we've done some basic service blocking at the border. We cut off a lot of database ingress that there was no business use for. So for a long time, we've been blocking MySQL and MS SQL ingress at the border. But we noticed we were also getting Postgres traffic and Oracle SQL and a couple other things. And we decided to cut those off too. And that reduced a lot of noise in the security because we were seeing so much scan traffic coming in, just looking for open database ports. And so when we blocked them at the border, it just took away a bunch of noise in Security Onion that we had trying to get around. Oh, sorry, Julie, I didn't see your note about zooming. Sorry. Any other questions? Did I make time? What time is it? I did it. Anytime I finish anything under the time, I'm always happy because I can yak a little bit. Does anybody want to see anything else? Oh, Richard, TLS. We are not, right now, we don't do any TLS decryption. We discuss it frequently. I think the first step we would probably want to do is do it very selectively, almost from a forensic perspective, doing it in retrospect rather than doing it real time. There's going to be some political work that'll need to get done in order if we're going to start routinely decrypting TLS on campus. Any other questions? I can give you back a few minutes. Well, thank you all. I'll hang around here in the session till it's over. If anybody has any questions or wants to just talk to me directly, that'd be fine. Thanks for coming. Is everybody gone? Yeah, some people still hanging around. Thank you for your help, Tennille.
Problem. Thanks for presenting.
Oh. I can talk. All right, I'm going to take off. Thanks for everybody. See ya.